What should we do for the intro?
Something in 3D.
Should we like come at the screen like we're in? Whoa!
Yep.
Whoa!
I'm in my rolly chair, so if I like roll in.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, tell me when.
Go ahead. Whoa! If we were watching this on the 3DS, this would be amazing.
Wow, what a coincidence. Because I'm Majority. And I'm here to talk about the 3DS with you, Alex of TurboZone.
What's up, man?
Hey man, you look
What's
so
up, man?
so sharp.
Do I?
Polygonal.
No, because you know why? Because I'm on the Nintendo 3DS.
Uh, wow. I thought it was because you had multiple wives.
Oh. We haven't shit. I think the last time we did a discussion like this was for like game collecting last year. So it's been a bit. So I thought a good icebreaker. The topic of this video is the 3DS still worth it in 2022? And we'll talk about things surrounding that and just the 3DS in general. So I thought a nice icebreaker would be, and I'm going to do it too, but if you want to start, Teddy, what are your top 3 3DS games?
Well, I'll break the ice back at you because they're from three of my favorite franchises. Do you know what they are?
I'm Dragon Quest. Are you gonna put SMT on there? And I don't know what the third one's gonna be. Zelda.
Now, can you figure out which ones they are?
Ooh, Dragon Quest. Fuck 7. Yeah, got that one. Is it gonna be SMT 4? And shit, which Zelda? Are you gonna put Ocarina 3D?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did it.
You know me.
Why those 3 games? Let's
I
talk
don't.
for a minute.
I guess starting with Dragon Quest. I didn't finish 8. I enjoyed what I played of 8, but something about 7 felt classic and yet like unexpectedly good. Like just a lot of micro stories that were really good and like that kind of I don't know if they all came together in a way that like told like a compact story, but it was almost like going on a tour of like all of these different I don't know, places with different history. Everybody speaks with a different accent. So it's like all inspired by different parts of the world. And so there's so much life to it in that regard. The character classes and customization are really good in 7. Enemies on the screen. It was also kind of a pivotal game as far as getting it over here. I think it was the first 3DS Dragon Quest game that was localized. So not all of them were, sadly. But and when we finally got 7, it was just so spectacular. And also like 7, the remake of 7 is significantly evolved from the PS1 game in a way that 8 just there's no real need to do a lot of that stuff to. A lot of those things were included. I guess with 8, I guess you get enemies on the screen, but it already had things like, voice acting and the photo mode's cool, but I really liked 7 when I played it last time. Ocarina, I speak enough about it. It's a love letter. It was handled really well by Grezzo. I like what they did with Majora's Mask 3DS. I think the reason it maybe topped that and Link Between Worlds is perhaps my nostalgia, but that a lot of it remained untouched. Majora's Mask was significantly altered in several regards, and so it's kind of annoying. It kind of turns me off from playing it as much nowadays. I'd probably err towards the N64 version. And Link Between Worlds is fine. I like it. Maybe it's just I'm not as much the target demographic for it. SMT4 was probably like it was the first SMT game I really got into and played. I think I got it around the same time as Persona 4, and I just remember it being just a badass game. And sometimes I'll still throw the soundtrack on. It's just the heavy guitar riffs are pretty
Oh,
badass.
it's a fucking badass soundtrack. That's what I was doing while I was setting up a minute ago. Was I was just like listening to the soundtrack. It's fucking awesome. Do you wanna guess my top three? I know one of them you're not gonna get.
Okay. Shinobi.
Ooh, that one came close.
Okay.
This was a hard just picking three games for 3DS was hard because I've played a lot of games on 3DS, but Shinobi was a contender.
I'm sure. This is hard because I feel like the ones you'd pick different versions of. Like, I wouldn't guess Sonic All-Stars Racing Transformed. Like, because there's the other one. I know it's definitely not like Smash Bros. I don't, because I think you like the Wii U one more, and then now there's, Ultimate.
I'll give you a hint for one of them. It matches one of yours.
Is it SMT4?
It's SMT. Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, I have right here. I'm at the end basically. I have like a few missions left in the game, and it's been fucking phenomenal.
Wow, that makes me so happy to hear because I have a lot of love for that game, so I'm glad you do too.
Yeah, it's a gateway drug, man. I'm gonna end up. I mean, I have Apocalypse ready to play afterwards, which who knows if I like that one more or less, but. It's a gateway because like now I'm so interested in playing the rest of the SMT series that the fourth game is so good. Do you want to guess my other two?
Sega 3D
One of them
Classics.
Ooh, no. One of them is it's another RPG for one of them.
Turn-based.
Mm-hmm.
The hell? What other RPGs are there? I know a bunch, but it's like I don't think you have them.
Mm-mm.
And I'm trying to think, like, is there a Final Fantasy?
No, that actually the only Final Fantasy on 3DS was like Explorers, and that game sucked.
I can't guess the RPG.
Okay, it's Monster Hunter Stories.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah, obviously, I have to put a Monster Hunter game on my top three somewhere, and it's hard because while I adore the main Monster Hunter franchise, I actually wouldn't recommend anybody play those. I would recommend somebody go from either Monster Hunter World or Rise. Those games do that style so much better. But Stories is such a unique game, and yet there's a sequel on Switch, but it still follows up the original game. I think the first game is a fantastic place to start. The other one you're not going to guess. I'm going to go ahead and tell you.
Wait, just give me a chance. Give me a hint. No.
It's LBX.
You didn't even let me try. It's LBX. Okay.
You were going to get LBX.
No, I've raced that game for my existence. I don't even know.
Level 5. It's a mech battle. It's weird because over here it was marketed towards kids. Like it had a cartoon first, and then the game came out over here. But in Japan, the game came first, and then they made a cartoon. So over here it was marketed like backwards. Like we got it marketed to us as a kid's property. Over there, it was a game that got turned into a cartoon. So it's a pretty fun mech combat game. It's about kids that have little capsule toys that can customize and they battle them and stuff, and it's a pretty fun story. Level 5, I mean, that's a big name, and within the I guess Nintendo community. So I'm surprised this it kind of flew under the radar, and I really enjoy that game.
Actually, on the 3DS as well, Little 5 has damn it, Little Bellers. Level 5 has quite a name for themselves as well. There's a bunch of games you can get on the shop by Level 5 that are like really unique indie games. One like kind of a hidden gem is Crimson Shroud. It's like an old school tabletop RPG, and the characters are literally like board game figures, but it like has all the feelings of kind of like a D&D style thing. You roll the die, and then like it determines how much damage you do. They also do other ones. They're known for Yokai Watch, of course, but they also have like Starship Damri or like this game about tanks and bugs and shit. So I don't know. They got some cool stuff.
Yeah, it's hard because like I said, Shinobi was close. I almost put Shinobi on there. I almost put a few other ones. Like I really enjoyed when I first got the 3DS. I got some games with it, and I really enjoyed Ghost Recon Shadow Wars. It's like an XCOM style game. That game's really fun. I like the Ridge Racer 3D was a great racing game on the system. And I still have a backlog of games to play. In fact, one of them that I've just been waiting to start that I've had for a minute now is Ever Oasis, which is by the Zelda remake guys, whatever their name is.
Gretzo.
Yeah. So there's still a ton of games I have yet to play. So my list, my top 3 might change, but if I had to pick top 3 games that I would recommend, those are my top 3 right now.
Yeah, cool. Did you finish Little Battlers by chance?
No, I need to, but I played a lot of it. I bought it. It was crazy because it didn't do well over here, so I bought it like a year after it came out for like $10. And I put a lot of time into it back then. I need to go back and finish it though. But what I did play was a lot of fun because it is a pretty big game. I think it's like a 30 to 40 hour game, and it's all about customization and stuff. So if you like mech games, that's what it is. So the question of the day, Teddy, is the 3DS still worth it in 2022?
Yes. Wait. Oh,
okay,
you know what? They're getting harder to get though, so that's a quandary. I think that in 2022 the 3DS offers something unique that the Switch doesn't, and I think that it's also a bit more like accessible in terms of things like soft or hard mods that people don't really seem to be doing with their Switches. I have like a 208-in-1 classic gaming cart for the DS that also works on 3DS. That's really cool. People sometimes reverse engineer these things to make them backwards compatible or to stream directly onto the PC. So that's pretty cool. And I think that it has, like, while the Switch has the touchscreen, I think the DS and the 3DS really, put the stylus to use. And, for better or worse, I'm not crazy about like holding the DS with one hand and the stylus with another. But I also like things like the clamshell, the design, the library. The like just if I know a lot of people say, oh, if you like RPGs, get the 3DS, but like really there are quite a bunch. Not everything has aged like wine. Some has aged like cheese, and that's to be expected. But the backwards compatibility with the DS library is pretty awesome. The 3DS library is pretty awesome. And yeah, I overall am like really content. I got a new 2DS, I think sometime last year or 2 years ago. And, it actually did rekindle my interest in the 3DS. For a long time, 3DS was maybe my favorite console. It was like my console of the year. Like, or just like the system I was really playing. I wasn't playing home consoles. I was playing my 3DS at home. When you had your Wii U phase, I was kind of going through my 3DS phase. So
yeah, it's and you bring up a good point. The touchscreen, I hate using touchscreen controls on the Switch. It's so cumbersome. Like I have the Switch version of The World Ends With You Final Mix, which great game on DS, and it's still a good game on Switch. But the fact that if I'm playing it handheld, I have to use touchscreen controls, and it's so cumbersome trying to hold that thing and use touchscreen controls that like it doesn't make me want to play that version very often. That game's way better on the DS or 3DS with the the dual screen setup. And I never put that together till now. I was like thinking about that when you said that. I was like, yeah, I much rather would play touchscreen games on the 3DS than I would on the Switch, because the Switch is like it's so weird to hold it and try to play like that, and you don't have a stylus using like your finger.
It's like your Switch is your only Switch, and it's like do I want to smudge it with my finger and
yeah. I think it's so interesting because we're not that far removed from the 3DS right now. Like I think the last major games came out in like 2019 or something.
Yeah, I was looking at you were talking about the Etrian Odyssey games being on sale. I was looking at Nexus just to get some background info on it. That came out in 2019. That's like just 2.5, 3 years ago. So
yeah, it's crazy because like I think a lot of people after the Switch came out in 2017, they just kind of like were like, okay, well 3DS is gone, and kind of chucked it in the trash or whatever. Then didn't think about it again. But yeah, I mean Nintendo was still supporting this thing up through the Switch's life. And I remember whenever somebody did talk about those new titles that came out, like the Luigi's Mansion remake or Kirby's Extra Epic Yarn and stuff, the question was always like, why? Like, why are they still making 3DS games with the Switch, out and relevant? And for one, huge install base, of course, but also I think the 3DS just offers something that the Switch doesn't have. It really is, like, I feel like it's the swan song for like Nintendo portables. I think the Switch is like the first hybrid, and I don't know if we're ever gonna go back from that. Who knows what they'll do going forward, if they'll break it off and do another home console, another handheld. But for a while, like handhelds kind of existed in their own place, and so did home consoles, and now they're kind of together. I can play whatever home console game on the Switch as a handheld game, and I don't know, it just kind of like it loses some of the magic that like some of the older handheld games had.
Yeah, I think that the 3DS really has some gems. The Switch obviously has its share, and I mean it has the Switch also has like that kind of, it has great quality and it has just shit quality, and a lot of times I'll go on the store and just look at what's there, and it's just like, why am I here? Why am I looking at this crap? The 3DS games, I think, like the software that came out for the 3DS, I think is kind of a mixed bag. I think some of it was really like heights for respective series. For Fire Emblem, I think like Awakening was one of the best games of its time, like, or of its respective genre, or not genre, yeah, genre maybe, but also of its series. SMT4, like, even though it was my gateway into the series, was like a damn good one. The Zelda remakes were really good. I mean, Mario is Mario. Mario will always be great, But then again, things like with the World Tour, I didn't think it like held it up as much to things like Toadstool Tour, and you could kind of see some of Nintendo's kind of laziness, some of maybe their lack of inspiration. While I did think games were fine and they were good, things like Samus Returns or things like Kirby Planet Robobot, I did think that they were kind of like just formulaic. And I think that trend has to some extent carried into the Switch, and some not. You could say Dread's its own thing. I don't know about the Forgotten Land. Maybe I'd like to know if you've been playing that. But yeah, so I mean, I think that the library itself on 3DS had its ups and downs, but of the ones that are ups, are definitely worth bringing up.
Mm-hmm. What would if somebody was to get a 3DS console today, what model would you recommend to them?
Oh, the new 2DS. Forget 3D. That's
Forget the 3D.
Yeah. Yeah, just get two DSs and then put them together. I also like, I mean, the thing is, it's hard to get the new 2DS, but it's worth it. I'd say I probably spent like $90 or $100 on it. I know you're probably not going to get it for that price now, so maybe $150 if you can get it, refurbished or new. I don't think any of the models are necessarily bad. Honestly, you could probably get an import model 3DS from Japan. That would be pretty cool. And it probably wouldn't run you that much. The standard model. A lot of people say it's too small, or I think you had that complaint for a while. I actually like the smaller size. I don't need like the XL. I used to have the XL. Spencer told me it's the same size, the 2DS LL. So or the screen size was or something. But yeah, I recommend almost any of them, really.
I have big monkey hands, so you gifted me the just the regular 2DS, which I have been playing a lot, and I like it because it's way more comfortable for me to hold and play games that way. The only other model I've had is my regular old red 3DS, which is beat the hell up. I got this like right after it was the first year right after the price drop. I got it, so I got it like right, that was like whenever 3D Land was coming out, so that was like right as like the games were starting to get good is when I got the first model, and I used it. I don't think it's too uncomfortable. I just don't, again, I have big hands, so my hands kind of cramp up, but I did use it for a long time, so I'm kind of nostalgic for the form factor of the original. But just for comfort, I fucking love the original 2DS. I think it's great. I think people see it as like the kid console, which in some ways it is. I'm not gonna lie, I dropped this thing yesterday, and it scared me half the, like for a second. I was like, and then I remembered it's fucking a big chunk of plastic, and I was like, oh, it's fine.
Yeah.
I was at work and it fell out of my bag and it was like I was like shit.
I have like a little Pikachu purse for mine, so I always like to just tuck it in there. So just give it the even for my clamshell one, I like that. Well, that's another thing. The clamshell is nice because it protects the screen. So that to me is always a plus because I don't want to drop it either. But you can protect the 2DS, if you carry it in the right space. I like that 2DS onward, like what they were doing with the hardware. With the original 3DS and the 3DS XL, I used to think that like the curvature on the console was a bit more rigid. So it didn't like feel as nice to hold versus the 2DS. I think like it's nice and rounded. So like when you're holding it, like I don't know, like it's just nice on the palms. Even if you're like going around on the shoulder buttons, like it curves nicely. Same with the new 2DS as well. It's pretty rounded, so I hope you like it round.
So yeah, I don't think you can go wrong for any of them. I think if you're just going for like affordability, the original 2DS I think is the cheapest one you're gonna find. Probably find for like $100, or less. Bundle with a game or something on eBay maybe. Really, I mean, you can't go wrong with it. The only perks to having a new model is like the extra thumbstick thing, the little nub, the nipple.
That's not a perk. That's just a thing.
the nipple, and like you could play like a couple of games, like Xenoblade and like fucking Minecraft and Fire Emblem Warriors or something. Like nothing you're gonna want to really play on there.
You can play all of those on other things.
Exactly, all those are on Switch and
definitive
stuff. Like,
editions.
you don't really. Yeah. It's like you don't really need to play those on the 3DS, but you can if you have a new model. They didn't really do much with that aspect. The only thing that kind of bugged me was that like I couldn't play Super Nintendo games on the original, which at the time of recording this and uploading it, the eShop is still up. It's not going to be up for long. I don't know how. Like, have they given a date on when that's going down?
I know that you can use like prepaid Nintendo cards like up until a certain point. Currently, you can use the credit cards, but I think that's going down soon, like maybe May or June. And then it'll only be Nintendo prepaid cards, which you can get at like Target or Walmart or whatever, and 7-Eleven. But that'll be like just for the next year, I think. But honestly, most of those things are on like the Switch Online service. And normally, while I'm not the biggest fan of subscription services, I think that like those type of games are really quickly played. And so there's not like the same need to like own them in a digital format. If you buy 3 of them, you would be able to play all 3 of them anyway on the Switch Online. And like, I don't know how many times, like I do play like Super Metroid every so often. I play Country, but I own Country in multiple forms and fashions, Game Boy Advance version and stuff. So I don't know if I need it as much. I do like having access to Earthbound. That's nice, but now that's on Switch. So
Yeah. I think the real crime is that we're gonna lose all those Game Boy Color, and Game Gear games that are on the eShop. They should really like put those over on the Switch somehow, like in the servers or something, because that's a lot of legacy for the for Nintendo. It's going to be lost there.
My
something
only
something
thing
I will
though about the Game Boy ones was that they were all in black and white, and that when you used to play those cartridges on an actual like Game Boy Color, it would make it monochromatic. So like I own Pokemon Blue and Red, are on there, and it's in black and white. I'm like, I remember this having color. Or Zelda Link's Awakening, that one used to have color. So I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Something I will say is that if you're interested in 3DS, I would recommend getting one now because a lot of games are going on sale. You can get the select games for like $20 on the eShop. You can get right now. Sega and Atlas are having a huge sale on games, and a lot of those games are like $7 to $10 each, which you're never gonna find them for that price again. Like, good luck after that point. So, if you are interested in getting a 3DS, like I would recommend doing it soon while that stuff's still on sale and still available to download. Even like the games at retail price, like the Dragon Quest games, you can get them for like $40 on the eShop, and they're going for way more than that now. So that's a problem. That's going to be an issue going forward after the eShop closes for me, especially is buying cartridge games for the 3DS because a lot of them are going to be overpriced.
Yeah, I don't know. See, the thing is, like, you have to be ready to also put in like the right micro SD card, like a 64 gigabyte. That thing fills up so quick if you're getting the big games. And then also, like, my fear is like, well, what about ones I previously bought but don't have the storage space for? Am I going to be able to re-download them? They made it such a hassle. You used to have to like transfer between two consoles or something, all of your data. So I have a bunch like on a 32 gig right now, but it's full. It's full just by having like, Ocarina of Time and like, I think I had to downgrade actually to 16 or something. I don't remember why, but so I have like Ocarina on there and SMT4, and like I want to get these games on sale, but I don't have the storage space. And will I be able to download them again later? That's my only concern. So
Yeah, I got like where I just have the original 3DS and 2DS. I just have an SD card. It's like 100 something gigs, so I have tons of space. So hey, you know what? That's an option if you are interested. I mean, you can get a regular SD card for cheap, and so I would probably go with the 3DS or 2DS because that's probably the cheapest way to go about it. 2DS, fat SD card, and games on sale. uh, it's a shame too because a lot of the games for 3DS and also for DS, which are as backwards compatible, they're not going to work well on other consoles because of the unique dual screen form factor. So even if some of these games get brought over to newer consoles, I don't think they're going to be the same. If they do like a port of some of these like games from 3DS and stuff, I don't think they're going to be quite the same as playing them on the actual hardware.
yeah, I mean, I have like Mario 64 DS on the Wii U, and it's like it looks weird because like even if you're playing on the tablet, like the setup is not like bottom screen, touchscreen TV, just the main screen. It's also got like the bottom screen in the window view. So I wasn't as crazy about like DS games being on the Wii U service. So I never really like jumped into them.
Yeah, I got your favorite
Star
Star
Fox
Fox
Command.
Command,
Yeah.
your favorite on the Wii U. Um, but what the fuck did they do there? Like they could have just had it set up. They have a dual screen, like you have TV tablet. Like you could have just had TV tablet
Yeah.
as a dual screen, but that's not how they do it. It's so bizarre and backwards, and I feel like that's how they're gonna do it forever if they start porting those games over. Is that like you have these weird setups you have to play with that aren't fun to use. Hell, even we're even sort of seeing something like that. Like I know this is not the same thing exactly, but on the Wii U, of course, the Wonderful 101 came out originally for Wii U, and it has dual screen setup, because it's Wii U, and then bringing that to like PS4 and Switch. I know that game's weird with its setup. Same thing with I have the Mega Man Zero collection, which has both the Mega Man ZX games for DS, and they're also weird with the setup. Like you get to have one like minimized window on one huge window, then swap back and forth. It's so strange that like it's we're not like unless they just do another dual screen system, like it's not going to be the same. So you might as well just have a 3DS on hand.
Hmm.
Like I have I play the 2DS. I still buy 3DS games, but I have an R4 cart, which you have the multi cart thing too. I have an R4 cart that I just load DS games onto to play. Because call me a pirate.
Well, you
Give me
know
an eye
what?
patch.
Maybe what we can expect is that once the shop goes down, people will be a bit more liberal about finding ways to make these 3DS games like ROM accessible, and like maybe making
Yeah,
cartridges of them. Because I don't think that a question kind of stirred in my mind, like, are these games and this era going to be relics as this console is like even more phased out than it already is? Are we going to see revivals of like Zelda Phantom Hourglass or like I don't know. And then like
yeah.
so, but that's DS, right? And then so like then we talk about 3DS, like is this just going to be history? It happened to the GameCube. The GameCube is almost entirely history at this point.
Yeah, we get a GameCube game every once in a while, but a lot of those games are stupidly expensive because they're just sitting there on the GameCube, and I fear that's going to be what the 3DS is.
And it's funny because I think you used to swear, you do still, maybe you still do, I don't know, maybe you don't, but you used to swear to me all the time the Wii U, it's going to start getting up there in price, but they brought almost every Wii U game to the Switch, and it's like I
That's
don't
true.
know that they'll do that with 3DS. I don't know. Maybe that's why the 3DS games are just like pff, like hope you got some money.
I'm just sitting over here watching my copy of Kirby and the Rainbow Curse. Like, you're the lone survivor. When are you gonna go up in price?
Oh, on Wii U. Oh, today it
yeah,
hit
no, it's
550. Anyways.
Yeah, the rarest game, Kirby and the Rainbow Curse. Yeah, it's tough to talk about. Like, it's like like I still enjoy the Switch. I'm not here to say like fuck the Switch, buy a 3DS. I'm just saying like there's a place for both. Like I think even whenever the 3DS was still relevant within the market and the Switch was new, there was still a place for both. And a lot of journalists didn't act that way. They were like, "Why is the stinky 3DS still around?" They were like, "Why isn't this game on the Switch instead?" And I'm like, "Well, they're like two completely different consoles."
Mm. Do you feel like the Switch competes in terms of RPGs? Because 3DS is frequently hailed as kind of like the holy grail of RPGs.
The difference is that the 3DS mainly got new games. Like, there were some, like, I know Atlas did like some like redos of like DS games and stuff, but like mainly a lot of the RPGs that I've seen have been like newer entries and franchises. The Switch is just port central. Like it does get stuff every once in a while, but a lot of times it's like we're just gonna bring over all the old Final Fantasy games and all the old whatever game. We'll do a remake of the Mana games, and we'll do remasters of this. It's like the Switch is where you dump a lot of your older games. Like, here, have at it, play the old stuff. But the 3DS, it felt like they were still getting new entries in a lot of those franchises. Um, up to a point. Maybe not Dragon Quest because those are remakes, but
Mm.
a lot of a lot of games still had new entries coming out on the 3DS that
Yeah.
maybe don't on the Switch.
Yeah, I mean, we got like 3 Fire Emblem games on 3DS. There's a lot of people's favorite, Stella Glow. There's Spencer's favorite, The Story of Seasons. There's like a couple, I think like Harvest Moons maybe, Rune Factories, new Etrian Odyssey games, SMT4 for Apocalypse. So I mean, yeah, I think that there's some RPG loyalty. I think if you look at some of those companies too, like the Xseed, Marvelous, Atlas, like there was some real loyalty to 3DS in a sense.
Yeah, I feel like like I said, on the Switch, it's like every direct, it's like, oh, it's like sure we'll have like a triangle strategy, which is an awful name by the way,
Oh,
or something just coming out, but then we'll have 5 other games that are like Chrono Cross and Live a Live and Final Fantasy 7, and it's just old games being brought over. It's like cool. Like, did we get new ones?
yeah, totally.
No, no. Just play the old ones.
Oh, that was another one people
Oh,
liked was Bravely Default. And then I was also thinking
yeah.
of like The Legend of Legacy, and there's like some other ones.
Man, I remember whenever Bravely Default came out, that was big. Like, they had like the demo on the eShop that was like a 10-hour long demo, and I remember I played the demo and I liked it. I just never picked up the game, but like I remember that being like a whoa, like a return to classic JRPGs, and now we're kind of like, now they're like moved on to like Octopath Traveler and fucking Triangle Strategy. I can't say that name, but it's fucking terrible.
It's still in the demo phase.
Yeah, which they did bring like Bravely Default 2 over, which is weird because I thought Bravely Second was Bravely Default 2, but now there is Bravely Default 2. So
We're just getting the Kingdom Hearts treatment.
what the hell was Bravely Second? What the hell was that? Um, and there's I think whenever the 3DS launched, and I got it, it was a weird point then because the 3DS, if you remember when it first came out, people were like saying like, "Oh, it's done, like it's doomed." When it came out, it was like A lot of people were talking about how there was nothing on it. It's overpriced, and it's like Nintendo's gonna sink into into the fucking ocean and die. Like that's the end. And then they like flipped it around. They dropped the price, which is when I got it. They flipped it around. They started bringing out great games, and then it became like one of their best selling consoles. It was crazy to me that like I got to like kind of like I was in the middle of that transition when I got it because I got it with Street Fighter 4, which is an early game, and Pac-Man Galaga Dimensions, which is expensive now, by the way. Why? I don't know. Yeah, who knows? So I got it with those two games, which my parents did a great job picking those two for me. And then then I played like Star Fox 3D and so I played like the Tom Clancy games and Shinobi and stuff. But that was really like before like the like games that the 3DS for now hit, and now it's like Animal Crossing and Pokemon and Fire Emblem and stuff like that. Those all came out later. Like I got it whenever the people were still like, "Oh, the 3DS isn't worth getting." It was such a weird transition from launch to where we are now.
Look at what it became. I mean, like, because I think what made it exciting was like coming off of the Wii. Like the Wii had an initial just splurge of excitement with like Wii Sports and Mario Kart Wii, and then it kind of tapered off. And like while the Wii has good games, it has a lot of like fluff in there. With the 3DS, I think it just built gradually to become this like monster of a console with like really great, experiences, new and old, and a lot of capabilities. I think it was really accessible, and then just the handheld nature of it was really cool. Like I just distinctly remember losing hours, like even if it was to like Pokemon or Animal Crossing, just really getting into it.
Yeah, I just it's the end of an era. I feel like that's the last like true dedicated handheld we're gonna get. At least for a while. So Sony's out of the handheld game. Nintendo's making the Switch consoles and stuff now, which is just a home console, but you can play it, on the toilet.
It's a hybrid. So like,
Yeah,
is that are we in the era of hybrid consoles now?
I think so. I mean, with the like the Steam Deck is still a thing, I guess.
Yeah.
The Switch and the advent of like I can play like Game Pass on my phone now and stuff, so I can play Xbox
Yeah.
games that way. Yeah, I think we are like in the advent of like the technology's caught up. Like we can play home console games on the
Well,
go.
that's another thing too. Is like, did the smartphone replace the handheld console?
That was a talking point whenever the 3DS first launched. People were like, "Holy shit! Like, why are they making another console when smartphones are a thing?" I remember that was a big talking point for a while, but the 3DS still managed to pull ahead.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess now it's like the quality of games on the phone is much better. I mean, yeah, I used to like dick
Oh yeah,
around in like emulators on my Android in like 2000 whatever, but I think nowadays it's like you can do 3DS but better like on your phone. You can do Xbox on your phone.
yeah, it's true. It's true. So we'll have to sing a song, sing it off for the 3DS. Play the trumpet. We'll do a burial at sea.
Just cue the Dragon Quest theme.
There you go. Um, yeah, I don't know, man. I just want to talk about 3DS. I've been loving it lately, so just gonna
Yeah, definitely.
you know, which is it was funny because whenever the Wii U was relevant and I got the Wii U, I was kind of sour towards the 3DS simply because like it was getting the games, and I was like, "Where's my games? Where's the Wii U games?" So there for a little bit, the only thing I played on the 3DS was just Monster Hunter. Um, and even then, I was more like, well, I wish these were on the Wii U, but like retrospectively, I wish I didn't have that mindset back then because then I could have appreciated the 3DS more than like I do now.
Well, I think you're into different games then too. I mean, I think
Hmm.
you've grown an appreciation for like, you know, turn-based RPGs that maybe you didn't have then. So like, that's why you can really get into things like SMT or Atlas titles nowadays. Time and place.
The the Wii U had Paper Mario Color Splash. Right? I don't know.
Oh, you also had Tokyo Mirage Sessions, everyone's favorite karaoke RPG.
That's on the Switch.
Yep.
Xenoblade Chronicles X. That's like the one. That's the game.
The Skyrim of Xenoblade.
Yeah, I don't know what the game is.
It's like fill your gas tank in your oversized mech.
Oh, it's a mech game. Oh yeah.
It's actually a gas game.
Sold. Well, if it's like the gas prices now, we're screwed.
Yeah. Maybe the Wii U price has finally started to erupt. Who knows? Xenoblade Chronicles X, eBay.
I'll have to sell my Wii U for gas. For Xenoblade Chronicles X.
For a bike, so you can bike to work.
Yeah, bike to work. Well, that was the 3DS discussion, everybody. Let us know if you think the 3DS is still worth it in 2022. What were some of your favorite games? Did you play fucking, I don't know, the
Cubic
Angry
Ninja.
Birds trilogy? Yeah, Cubic Ninja. I have Crush 3D and Dream Trigger. Remember those?
Yeah.
Those were early games. Yeah, you could buy those for like $1 at one point. That's why I have them.
You can buy that for $1.
I'd buy that for $1. I'd buy Heroes of Ruin for $1.
That game wasn't bad. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. It was cool. You used to be able to talk into Heroes of into the 3DS, and you'd be able to hear somebody out. I play with two friends that way.
That's crazy. I have that game. I didn't know I could talk to my 3DS.
Yeah, we should try it while the Wi-Fi is working.
Yeah, we'll play that. We'll play Triforce Heroes.
Yeah. And what's the Final Fantasy one?
Explorers. Man, I was so displeased with that game. I got that game for like a birthday. I think in 2016, I picked it up for my birthday with some money. It was some money I got, and I immediately went I got home, played it for like an hour. I immediately drove back to GameStop and got a refund. I was just like, no, like give me something else. and they were pretty chill. Like they were like, what's wrong with it? And I was like, I didn't like it. And they were like, oh, okay. Do you want to swap it out for something else? And I was like, yeah. So I think I got like the portable version of Hyrule Warriors or something. Because I was just like, fuck this game.
If you're gonna get a Final Fantasy on there, you got to get Theater Rhythm.
I have to get a rhythm. Like the game's fun.
Yeah, I like it.
I was playing that one some recently. I played Codename Steam some recently, which is a game. Remember that one?
Yeah, I remember fighting aliens as Abraham Lincoln.
This is Fire Emblem guys, man. They were like, we should just make something weird for
not their finest moment.
Let's just do something weird. Talk about the Steam Deck. Codename Steam should be on the Steam Deck. You should be able to buy Codename Steam on Steam.
What will the code name be?
Clue Land.
Man,
and with that, I think
Land.
we've run out of steam.
Yeah. You took the last bit out of me.
Thanks for joining me, Teddy. Everybody go over to Majora T. Check out his review of Nano Assault?
Neo X.
Yeah, Neo at something.
It was the Matrix. Yeah.
The Path of Neo.
Bite-sized Neo.
Bye.
Check out the button mappers.
Oh, yeah.
And bye.
That's
or Engage. We could talk about that one next.
Dude, let's do Engage month.
You have to ask Spencer.